Hello everyone and welcome back to the IS Network lecture series on solving case studies which have been asked in the UPSC previous year question papers. So in the last two lectures we have discussed one case study from 2013 paper and one case study from 2014 paper. So now in this lecture we'll take one case study from 2015 UPSC CSC paper and we'll discuss how to approach that question and as well as discuss the solution. So let's begin with this lecture. So I will take you through the case study. So the case study is as following. You are recently posted as a district development officer of a district. Shortly thereafter, you found that there is considerable tension in the rural areas of your district on the issue of sending girls to school. So it's something related to the issue of girls going to the schools. The elders of the village feel that many problems have come up because girls are being educated and they are stepping out of their safe environment of the household. So this is typically going towards the patriarchal mindset of the people. They are of the view that the girls should be quickly married off with minimum education. The girls are also competing for jobs after education, which have traditionally remained in boys exclusive domain, adding to the unemployment among male population. So basically they are countering the argument of sending girls to school on the grounds of that they are stepping out of the safe environment, so their safety is a concern, as well as they are eating up the jobs which were earlier meant for male population. The younger generation feels that in the present era girls should have equal opportunity for education and employment and other means of livelihood. The entire locality is divided between the elders and the younger lot, further divided between sexes in both generations. You come to know that in panchayat or in other local bodies or even in busy crossroad, the issue is being acrimoniously debated. So basically there is a contention. The people are discussing about what should be the modus operandi. Should the girls be going to the schools, or there are multiple opinions about the matter. One day you are informed that an unpleasant incident has taken place. Some girls were molested when they were en route to school. The incident led to clashes between several groups and a law and order problem has arisen. The elders, after heated discussion, have taken a joint decision not to allow the girls to go to school and to socially boycott all such families which do not follow their dictate. So, what steps would you take to ensure the girls' safety without disturbing their education? How would you manage and mold patriarchal attitude of the village elders to ensure harmony in the intergenerational relationships? So basically this is a typical problem which many of the rural areas and the outskirt areas are facing these days. So this could be very easily your introduction as well, that this is not a one-off incident. It is quite common in rural India and backward places where girls are not getting their due in terms of literacy, in terms of school education, which further limits their opportunity in terms of getting jobs, etc. So now let's quickly discuss this case study. So as we have discussed in the previous lectures as well, that your case study has, your answer has basically three portions. One is your introduction, followed by a body and a conclusion. So as I told you, the introduction could be very easily something related to girls' education. So you can compare the literacy rate in the country, or you can very easily quote the Christine Lagarde's statement that if we have equal labor force participation rate among females, our GDP would rise by 27%. So this can show the impact of women education can have. Similarly, you can write a quote as well, that no bird can fly with one wing. So basically it points to the importance of female education, that our country cannot progress with the 50% of the population not being able to utilize their human capabilities. So this could be your basic introduction. However, in this particular case, few values are at conflict. You can point at the values at conflict, which could be your traditional values, the traditional values of patriarchy, discrimination, are in conflict with modern values. Your modern values of equality, liberty, then few values have been undermined as well in this case. Or you can even, in the values conflict, you can say that right to education versus the right to safety. Values undermined could be your justice to the girls is being undermined. Similarly, lack of respect of law. And there is human dignity is being lost. Reason being, the girls have been molested as well. So there is lack of human values. Similarly, lack of respect for law, justice to the girls have been denied. So these are the basically values at conflict. This would form your introduction. One would be the importance of education and what impact it can have if we are able to ensure our females proper education. Similarly, we can point that in the particular case there are some values at conflict and few values being undermined, which creates a grievous situation. So in the body, what we have been asked is basically, one is safety measures, B is attitudinal change. So let's try and first do the attitudinal change, then we'll see the what all safety measures could be taken. So the main component would be attitudinal change itself, because safety provisions could still be managed, which are more mechanical in nature. However, the attitudinal change is where your major marks would be, you would be fetching the major marks, because this is a important portion, because no amount of structural changes could be sufficient unless there is a internal change brought about. So as we know that you would have studied in your section A as well, attitude formation is done through 3 stages, which is cognitive, affective, and behavior, or we call it a CAB model of attitude formation or attitude change. Now let's begin with the cognitive element. How would you convince them? So cognitive is basically about the knowledge. So you have to try and convince them through logical, reason-based arguments. So cognitively, you can say that one of their argument was that females are eating up their male counterparts' jobs. So you can very easily say that girls could be entrepreneurs as well. So it's not about they competing with the jobs, they can even lead to more jobs. Similarly, you can say that educating a female is same as educating the whole family. So basically you are saying that it's not just helping the female itself, it's helping the whole of your family. It would help in all of your family being more eligible for jobs. Similarly, the quality of future generations would go up. Or you can even say that they can even take up leadership positions. So basically they could even fight for such much kind of positions if they are reserved for females, or even otherwise as well. So you can convince them through these kind of mechanisms. Similarly, you can say that if they're finding it expensive to send their females, you can pinpoint to various schemes like Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, Sukanya Samriddhi program. So basically you can even bring that to their notice that there are multiple schemes, multiple support measures provided by the government in order to help a female, help sending their kids to daughters to the schools. So this would create a cognitive. So like this, you can argue for the case that it's okay, it's preferable for sending the female kid to the school. Now comes the affective component. You have to make an emotional appeal as well. So emotional appeal could be done through multiple ways. So basically, the simplest thing you can do is you can take clue from the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign as well, where we had selfie with daughter. So basically you can have similar programs running across, or you can even say that as the old people are against this program, you can put the responsibility on the old people or the grandparents for basically picking up and dropping their kids. So this would basically bring an emotional connect to that. Similarly, you can screen various movies where females have done a great job. For example, Dangal. So you can screen these kind of movies, have a role play which depicts the same concept. So basically it would create some emotional connect with that mechanism. And similarly, if we put the responsibility on them, it would bring a behavioral change as well, because the same behavior would be repeated, the same routine would be repeated multiple number of times, which would essentially change the attitude and the cognitive and affective portion as well. So these are few measures which you can suggest. So basically we have suggested at least 7-8 measures through which we can basically create a positive attitude in them towards sending their girl child to school. Now comes the B part, which is about safety of the girls. So in order to increase the safety, what could be done is basically, one is grandparents' duty that we discussed earlier, to pick and drop them. Similarly, we can have public buses, public transportation, so that there is unity and proper mechanism for going to and from the schooling. Similarly, they can have some self-defense training program for making the females more independent. Yet another measure could be installation of CCTV cameras within the school premises. Proper sanitation facility should be provided within the school, because most of these molestation cases etc. are related to when the females go to relieve themselves. And along with this, some strict action against the perpetrators. So they needs to be caught as soon as possible, as well as given strict punishment. So this would set a deterrence effect. We can even have something like a community policing program, which would engage the people in the social issue. So these could be the measures through which you can basically provide for the safety of the girl child as well, which would resolve the problem of the doubts of the people that have crept in due to the safety of their daughters. So basically, in the conclusion, we can say that attitude would be changed through persuasion, and basically you can be the role model as well. You can yourself be a role model along with some local role models. Example, your sarpanch could be himself sending his daughter or granddaughter to the government school nearby. That would set a good precedent. So basically, that would increase the confidence of the people, and the local role models are able to convince the people far better. And conclusion, you can give a overarching statement that on the similar lines that the girl education is of utmost importance. And need of the hour is to basically give moral education to the boys. Than to prune the activities of females who are actually the victim. So like this, you can justify that how would you bring a attitudinal change. So in this lecture, so in this basically case, we discussed that the case was primarily related to girl education, due to which some unrest has been achieved. So basically, you had to bring an attitudinal change as well as arrange for the safety of the female kids. So basically, you discussed the few of the value conflicts as well as values which were undermined. Then you brought the CAM model into play for attitudinal change. You have to counter the cognitive component or the reasons that the people were giving for the not sending their daughters to school. So that you can counter through various arguments which we discussed in the lecture. Similarly, we have to appeal to the emotional component of the kids as well. So you can use something like similar on the lines of selfie with daughter in Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program. Similarly, you can have some role plays, movie screening, etc., which would appeal to the emotions of the people, and this program needs to be run over a period of time so that it gets internalized into a behavioral component. Similarly, on safety lines, we can have certain CCTV, some structural changes as well as some trainings in terms of human component, and put the onus on the community as well, so as to ensure such kind of things never happens again. And conclusion should be on the lines that equality is the right that they are supposed to be enjoying. So it's the duty of the family to inculcate the right values into the males rather than pruning the activities of the females. So this was the overall discussion of the 2015 case. I hope you would have gained some knowledge and gained some perspective into how to attempting these kind of case studies. In the next lecture, we'll take some case studies of the even recent years. Thank you. And if you need to get some knowledge regarding the IS network evaluation programs, you can visit their website. Thank you.